Today, we are heading into a world that's been hiding right under our noses. A world that is going to challenge everything you thought you knew about intelligence, communication, and even life itself. Yeah, we're talking about the secret, sophisticated, and incredibly active world of plants.
You know, this quote from the International Laboratory of Plant Neurobiology just hits the nail on the head. It's asking us to completely shift our perspective. We tend to see plants as, well, passive decorations in our world. But what if their intelligence, their actions, are just running on a totally different clock than ours?
Exactly. What have we been blind to, simply because we've been judging an entire kingdom of life by our own fast-paced, animal-centric rules? Well, let's peel back those layers and find out.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the deep end with the biggest question of all. How can anything be intelligent if it doesn't have a brain? Well, the answer means we have to radically rethink what cognition even is. So here's the fundamental difference. The animal model of intelligence is all about speed, right? Fight or fright. You need a central command center, a brain, to process stuff and react in a split second. But plants, they're rooted to the spot. They can't run away, so their intelligence evolved differently. It's decentralized, like a distributed network woven through every single root, stem, and leaf. It's not built for speed, it's built for resilience and adaptation over much, much longer periods of time.
And this right here is the mic drop moment. The scientific community is making it absolutely clear. We've made a huge mistake by confusing the tool, the brain, with the actual quality of intelligence. Intelligence is just a property of life, a way of processing information to solve problems. And it turns out, you can do it without a single neuron.
So if plants don't have brains, they definitely don't have ears. So how do they sense what's happening around them? Well, let's zoom way in on one of their most incredible senses, their ability to hear, or more accurately, to feel vibrations.
This image gives us the whole roadmap at a glance. Just imagine a sound wave, maybe from water flowing underground, moving through the soil. The plant's root doesn't hear this like we do. Instead, it feels it. It feels it as a physical, mechanical pressure on its cells. And that tiny bit of pressure, well, that's the key that unlocks an entire cascade of signals inside, which we're about to break down.
Let's walk through that roadmap. First up, perception. That vibration physically pushes on the cell wall. Simple enough. Second, transduction. This push triggers these tiny protein channels on the cell's membrane, called MCA2 channels, to pop open. This is the magic moment where a physical signal becomes a chemical one. Third, influx. The gates are open, and calcium ions just flood into the cell. And finally, response. This wave of calcium is like the first messenger, telling the rest of the cell's machinery, hey, pay attention, it's go time.
And believe me, this isn't some slow, lazy process. Researchers have actually measured this. A 200 Hz stimulus, that's kind of like a low hum, can cause a major spike in the cell's internal calcium levels in just 50 seconds. For a plant, that's an incredibly fast and sensitive reaction happening at a microscopic level. All right, now we're going to go even deeper. We've seen the first trigger, that rush of calcium, but what happens next? I mean, how does a simple ion lead to a complex choice? This is where we get to see the plant's decentralized cellular brain in action. Okay, I know this diagram looks super complicated, but don't panic. Just think of it like the circuit board for the cell's decision-making process. We're not going to analyze every single connection, but we are going to trace the main pathway that turns that initial calcium signal into a directed, intelligent action. So, the first key component is something called the calcium ROS hub. This thing is a brilliant piece of biological engineering. It's a signal amplifier. The first wave of calcium triggers the production of these things called reactive oxygen species, or ROS. These ROS molecules then turn around and open up even more calcium channels, letting a torrent of calcium in. It's a positive feedback loop that literally takes a whisper of a signal and turns it into a roar.
So, once those calcium levels are roaring, they flip a molecular switch, and that switch is a protein called CPK29. When it gets activated by all that calcium, its one job is to start adding phosphate groups to other proteins, which, in biology, is basically the universal way to pass a message down the line and fire up the next step.
So what does CPK29 actually switch on? It goes after proteins called PIN2, and this is the final, absolutely crucial link in the chain. PIN2 proteins are essentially the bouncers at the club door. They control the exit of auxin, which is the master growth hormone in plants. By controlling these gates, the cell controls where the growth hormone goes, and this is how a simple vibration gets translated step by step into the power to control growth and movement. Incredible!
So now, let's zoom back out.
We've seen this beautiful, intricate dance inside a single cell. But how in the world does that scale up to the complex, intelligent behaviors we can actually see with our own eyes?
And this is the whole point. All of that molecular machinery we just went through, the calcium, the ROS hub, that CPK29 switch, the PIN2 gates, it's not just happening randomly. It is the engine that drives purposeful, observable action. It's how a plant can actually forage for food and water with mind-boggling precision.
And the evidence for this is just stunning. We're talking about experiments where pea plant roots find a hidden pipe of water using only the sound it makes. We've seen plants perform sophisticated cost-benefit analyses, deciding if it's worth the energy to grow roots in a certain direction. The famous Mimosa pudica plant can learn to ignore a harmless disturbance, a basic form of learning called habituation. And get this, pea plants have even demonstrated associative learning, just like Pavlov's dogs. These are not simple reflexes. These are undeniable signs of cognition.
This quote just nails it. Plants compute their circumstances. They weigh their options. They take defined actions. I mean, listen to that language. That's the language of information processing and decision-making, not just passive green wallpaper.
Seeing plants in this new way has implications that are just enormous. This isn't just some quirky little discovery. It's fundamentally reshaping our understanding of biology itself.
What's really powerful about this new field is that it's not stuck in one silo. It's not just about one gene or one protein anymore. It's about pulling together molecular biology, cellular physiology, and whole system analysis to build a complete picture of how a plant actually operates as a communicative, information processing being. And all of this opens up a wild new frontier. On a practical level, think about precision agriculture. Imagine using specific sounds to encourage root growth, or listening for the tiny ultrasonic screams of a thirsty plant to know exactly when to water it. This is a game changer for sustainable farming. But the philosophical side is even bigger. This research forces us to confront our own anthropocentrism, our human-centered bias. It suggests that intelligence isn't some rare gift for brainy animals, but maybe, just maybe, it's a fundamental property of all life.
When it comes right down to it, this deep dive into the secret intelligence of plants does more than just teach us about botany. It forces us to fundamentally redefine our definition of what it means to be a living, cognitive being on this planet.
So, I'm going to leave you with this to think about. If the world around us isn't just a collection of passive things with a few smart animals running around, but is instead a vibrant network of communicating, problem-solving intelligences, well, how does that change the way we need to live?